All right, let's talk about Cypress testing, specifically that one headache we all run into, validating network requests. You know what I'm talking about, right? That feeling when you're digging through some massive JSON object just to find one tiny value? Well, if that sounds familiar, you're going to want to stick around for this. Okay, so let's get real for a second. If you do any end-to-end testing with Cypress, I am almost certain this next bit of code is going to look, well, painfully familiar. It's that classic situation, you intercept a network call, and then you have to start the tedious job of unpacking it piece by piece just to find the one thing you actually care about. And here it is, the old way. You sitsy wait for your alias, you grab the interception, you dig into the request body, maybe you even have to loop through an array or some objects, and then, finally, you get to make your assertion. It's just so much code, it's clunky, it's repetitive, and let's be honest, when you have a bunch of tests that look like this, it's a total nightmare to maintain. But what if there was a better way? What if you could just throw away all that boilerplate and replace it with one single super intuitive command? Well, that's exactly the idea behind a plugin called cypress-intercept-search. It's built to do just that, completely streamline this whole process. And just look at this comparison. I mean, it's night and day, right? On the left, you've got that whole song and dance we just walked through. But on the right, wow, a single, clean, totally readable command that does the exact same thing. You just wait for the request, search for what you need, and then assert. It's that simple. All that messiness just disappears. Now, this is really important. We're not just talking about writing less code here. That's nice, but the real win is how this fundamentally changes your tests for the better. We're going to look at 4 key advantages that really transform your entire workflow. So here they are. Zero boilerplate, it's chainable and composable, it gives you deep and wide coverage, and it has rich log integration. Let's dig in. The first point, zero boilerplate, is pretty obvious from that last example, right? Your tests immediately become cleaner and read more like plain English. But the second point, being chainable and composable, is where things get really cool. Because .search is just another Cypress command, you can chain it with all the other commands you already know and love. So you could, for example, wait for your request, search for a key like foo, chain a .should to make sure you found something, and then, if you need to, you can even tack on a .then block to do some more complex logic with the matches you found. It's just so flexible and fits right into the way you already write Cypress tests. Okay. The next advantage is, in my opinion, a total game changer. We're talking about deep and wide coverage. Think about it. Normally, if you wanted to check for a value, you'd have to know exactly where to look. Is it in the query parameters? Is it in the request headers, the request body, the response body? You'd have to write different code for each of those cases. Well, with searching, you don't have to care. It just checks everywhere. It recursively scans the query params, the request and response headers, and the request and response bodies. All of it, all at once. It's a huge time saver, and honestly, it makes your tests way more resilient. And that brings us to our fourth and final advantage, rich log integration. Let's talk about debugging for a second. We've all been there littering our tests with sci.log just to see what's going on inside an interception. This plugin makes that a thing of the past. The command log automatically tells you everything. It shows you what you searched for, it tells you how many matches it found, it tells you where it found them. Was it the request body, the response headers? It even gives you the exact path to each match. Seriously, debugging your network requests just got a whole lot easier. So, are you sold yet? Ready to get started? Well, the great news is that this is an active project, it's open to contributions, and it has a really exciting future ahead of it. Just to give you a taste of what's coming, the roadmap includes things like handy sugar methods like .should exist, more powerful matching using things like regex, and even performance improvements for those huge payloads. So it's only going to get better. All right, let's wrap this up. The takeaway here is pretty simple. If you're writing Cypress tests and you want them to be cleaner, more readable, and way easier to maintain, you've got to give this a shot. You can grab it on NPM under cypress-intercept-search, and the source is up on GitHub. So the only question left is, what's the first test in your suite that you're going to simplify with this?